Bonjour, good morning or good night. This will be the lesson 33 in the book The Way of Mastery. This video will be only in English. If you want to have the introduction to all that, watch my video number, I don't remember the number, but the video with the title Lesson 35. I have an introduction of 15 minutes about all that, and I explained that I'm not completely bilingual, so, like you know, maybe, surely, I have some problems with the pronunciation, and I forget sometimes words in English, or I switch some words from French to English, so be tolerant. You will have a wonderful lesson today. Every lesson is very, very good, but I'm glad to share with you this one tonight. Here it's the evening, it's almost 8 o'clock here. Okay, you can you can take you can stop after some minutes when you listen to this video, because I know now that my reading and my comments. Oh, I have forgotten the paper with my commentary. Just a second, I come back. Okay, it's the little paper, because I want that if you watch, it will be clear when it's my commentary and when it's only the text on the book, in the book. Okay, what I have said is you can stop and do other things and come again to listen other parts, because the two other videos it was almost 1 hour and 30 minutes, so you need to have time to watch that, to listen that, to integrate that. And I recommend you also to watch the video with a little cahier, voyons, block-note, not block-note, workbook, a little book in which you can write if you have some question, if there is some sections that you don't understand, if you have some new ideas listening these information, you can write that in a lesson. More in the beginning of the book, Yeshua, or the person who gave this information, because I'm not sure that it's the higher consciousness of Yeshua, but the spiritual person who gave this information give this recommendation to have a little notebook and to take notes when we learn these lessons. And me, because I start from the end until the beginning, you don't have actually this information. Okay, but it's so special that we reread and reread or read again the book, and if you can listen the video or watch the video, maybe it will be the same thing. You will watch and re-watch and watch again some videos, because it's difficult to take all the knowledge that is in that. Okay, are you ready? All this has been given to Jayem, one lesson or one chapter each month. And actually, I record that one lesson or one chapter each day or 2 or 3 days. So it's very rapid. It's a rhythm completely different of the one when this had been received. So you understand that you can take time to integrate that and to watch or listen all that. 35 lessons, so 12 lessons for 1 year, 24, 36. You see, almost 3 years with for Jayem and his spiritual group when they received that, and you will receive all that in 2 months, maybe 3. I'm not sure if I will able to keep this rhythm, but if I'm able, you will have that very rapidly. Okay. Lesson 33. There is only God and you are that. Beloved and holy friends, as always, I come forth to abide with you because you have asked. As always, I come forth to abide with you because in truth there is nowhere else that I could be. For where you are, I am, and where I am, you are. We abide then as the one mind birthed from the very heart of Abba, or God. There is nothing outside of us, and from within there is nothing hidden. Though the dimensions of creation are infinite, they abide within the mind or the field of consciousness that we share as one. The simple truth. Because this is true, and I assure you that it is, there is only one task that must be accomplished, one realization that must be realized, one reality to be expressed and lived. That simple truth is that there is only one, that there is only heaven, that there is only love, and that there is only the perfect peace that passes all understanding, that keeps your hearts in mind. For your heart or your soul, that which is all that you have experienced throughout the multitude of your lifetimes upon this teeny planet, all of the experiences that you have garnered since before the beginning of time throughout all of the multitude of dimensions, resides within the mind of God, within the mind of Christ, for these are one and the same. Therefore, beloved friends, know always that the only truth that must be lived as you enter into the firm commitment of choice to abide in the way of knowing is simply that there is only one thing. You are that one. Your brother and your sister are that one. And though bodies come and go, though time seems to arise and pass away, though the dance or relationship of career, of weather patterns seems to come and go, it's only the unenlightened mind that looks for great signs in these things. In truth, within the field of your soul, within the entire field of experience that you call to yourself, the same gift is being offered. The gift is offered to you that by grace you might decide to see that the world of ever-changing form means nothing. The world means nothing. It does not, nor has it ever existed, except in the perceptions conjured up within the field of mind that seems to be particularly related to your soul. Now, even, that is a bit of an illusion. But the point is simply this. In the way of knowing, there is a quiet decision to accept the truth that is true always, to surrender, to open the palms of the hands and to release the tight grip upon the value, the meaning and the rightness of the perceptions you have made to veil reality. You are that reality. All things are that reality. The forms that the physical eyes show you arise and pass away. Yet, in each moment, mind remains perfectly clear, perfectly one. Only the spell of the mind that believes itself to be the body creates suffering, creates doubt, creates illusion. Wherever you are, then, in this very moment, you can only be where in truth I am. Wherever I seem to be in this moment, I can only be where you are. For indeed, in the way of knowing, what must come to be released is the mistaken perception that there is, or has ever been, a separate I that is localized where the body-mind is. Because an enlightened mind no longer sees the veil of the false I, standing between itself as a filter and its recognition of its union with its identity with all things arising and passing away, such a mind looks out upon a transfigured world, a world in which the veil has been lifted. And that mind sees only itself. It sees that the very things it had been judging as imperfect, as it looked out upon the world, that it had been judging through fear, that it had been judging through self-doubt, that those very things of themselves are perfect and that they are indeed the kingdom of heaven. This is why the distance between where you are and where I am, indeed, is a distance that cannot be measured. For in reality, there is no gap. In reality, separation does not exist. In reality, your fall from grace and your movement into unenlightenment itself has been but an illusion. The very life you have been living is absolutely perfect. The life you are living now is absolutely perfect, and it has not anything at all to do with where the body-mind goes. It has nothing to do with whether you watch a movie or read a book, whether you make money or do not, whether the body-mind lives or dies. The life you have been living is the life of awareness, of consciousness, of perfect freedom to create whatever perception you choose to hold. You are free. Then, in all moments, to see that what has been arising as the life of your very self is the life and mind of God. A mind so awakened looks out and sees that there are no problems. Such a mind looks out upon the world and sees no reason to change it, for it is now looking at a world that has already been healed, already been transfigured, already through alchemical fires, being purified and made whole again. For in reality, it sees that wholeness was never once lost. The dream of separation occurs within a space of mind that is nowhere, which holds no value and no purpose. Fear, then, has no power over you. Death has no power over you. You abide in the only place ever created for you. You are not localized to the body or the particular personality that you have associated with as your I. That in itself is part of the spell or the drama or the dream of separation. In the way of knowing, there is a simple and quiet decision to behold that as the body-mind plays itself out, as the coming and going of all forms around you and within you, as your own unique perceptual field changes and dances and ebbs and flows, as all of these things that seem to be within you in your private world, and that is a bit of misnomer, and in your external world, that you think is yours and not someone else's, all of these things are innocent, harmless. They hold no power. There is no reality in them. It was this understanding that allowed me to simply choose to give myself over to what was called the crucifixion. An enlightened consciousness knows that loss is impossible. An enlightened consciousness knows that gain is also impossible. Yet, an enlightened consciousness, resting in the certainty of perfect knowing, merely abides in reality. That means there is no resistance to the coming and going of the body, no resistance to the grand display of energies that make up what you call your world. Governments rise and fall, or a new model automobile is unveiled to the flash of 1,000 camera bulbs. Some minds take it as being a very serious thing. Some do not even notice. And all of it is you. All of it is arising in the vast expanse of the perfectly free mind that belongs to no one and yet in which all ones arise. An enlightened mind, then, whether it is experiencing sadness, joy, anger, guilt, hurt, ecstasy, love-making, a piece of fruit, or cold wine, wind, on the skin, temporarily in the body-mind, merely allows all of these things without resistance to be exactly what they are, while that mind perceives and knows them to be harmless, vast, eternal, radiating the light that God is. As we near the end of the study of the way of knowing, the truth must be told ever more simply and ever more simply. There is only reality. That reality I have called God. That one is one with me, and I am that one. That one is one with you, and you are that one. In the end, then, what seems to be radical to a world caught in the spell of the small self, seemingly playing its drama out through the field of many, many body minds, the truth does indeed become radical. The truth is that all that arises and passes away is indeed God. There is only God. There can only be God, and you are that one. For in the end, even the creative teaching device of God and child, creator and created begins to slip away as duality becomes the one. As illusion, the last traces of illusion finally give way to truth. all things that arise and pass away are perfectly okay. All opportunities to experience the awareness of love's presence are okay. Every opportunity to experience the contraction of fear is okay. For these things arise only in the field of the perfectly free mind of God that you are. So, in the end, it is not so much about cutting out certain experiences and having only certain ones that you have decided hold value. It is rather to see that all such experiences are transitory. A moment of ecstasy or a moment of sadness is one and the same for the enlightened mind. There is only the vast expanse that follows all things. And when nothing is any longer unacceptable to you, in the field of what seems to be your own unique, particular experience, you will know that you are home. Things arise and pass away, and you remain. Beloved friends, I am indeed that one that birthed Christ. I am indeed that one that walked this earth as a man and manifested the fullness of myself to reveal myself to myself. You are that one that birthed Yeshua ben Joseph. You are that one that set in motion the great drama of the dream of separation and its correction. You are indeed that one which alone exists unchanging, unchangeable, and unchanged forever. And yet, when the mind has been under the spell of thoroughly believing it is a separate body-mind, and that the body is the source of the spell, that creates the illusion of a localized, separate self, a soul that has no connection to anyone else or anything else, it has forgotten the truth. In the field of the body-mind, if I were to have come to you 3, 4, 5, 10, or 2,000 years ago and said, "You are alone that one. You are God and only God exists," your fear, already present, would have been heightened. And so I came to you in the guise of a man known as Yeshua ben Joseph. I played out a perfectly clear drama, like so many body minds. I allowed myself to be perceived as a unique individual, since you believe that unique individuals exist. You saw me as separate from you, so I appeared in the way that you could see me and understand me, and I have gone on without ceasing to appear in ways that you can see me and understand me, to speak in languages and words, metaphors and parables, teaching tools that you could receive without increasing your illusion of fear. Even the appearance of myself as Yeshua ben Joseph was but a teaching device, a temporary teaching tool. All teaching and communication devices have one simple goal: to reduce fear so that that particular mind can release its grip of itself and surrender the illusion of separation, and thereby be bathed in the light of reality yet again, seeing that God is what I am. I am good. You are good. Only that one exists. Only the I that we share as the one exists. I appear as every blade of grass. I appear as every thought. I appear as every desire. I appear as every cloud in the sky. I appear as you. You are that one that I am. I am speaking to you, and yet you are speaking to you. You hear me, but you hear only yourself. Understand well, then, that I, as Yeshua ben Joseph, am but the appearance of God in a particular form, so that you could come closer to the truth of your nature without recoiling in fear. It is indeed said in the Bible that no man looks upon the face of God and lives. That statement means simply that the mind that is not yet enlightened, therefore, living in fear, living in the perception of itself being separate from God, cannot look upon the face of God, the reality of God, and live. It was not a fearful statement at all, it was simply the truth. For when the mind looks and beholds, there is only God, and I am that one. The false self has indeed died. Where did it go? Nowhere, because it never existed in the first place. Stop here just for some second. My commentary. This part of the book is very difficult to understand for me, and I imagine for you, because we live a lot in the separation. Us and God, me and God, you and me, you and God, you and Yeshua, me and Yeshua, Yeshua and God. But when the heart and the mind merge more and more with the source, there is kind of unity, some mystical experience of people are that in some moments they feel they are the trees, they are the dogs, they are the chair, they are the wall, they are the sky, they are the other. In some perceptions of unity, it's only the one, and it's the reality with the big R. There is no separation. With the illusion of the body or the distinct forms, we think that things are very separated, but we know more and more, for example, with quantum physics, since 5, 10, 15 or 20 years, that everything that seems dense is energy. It's a river of energy, and that everything is connected. We think that we are separate, but we participate all together in a big, big flow or big being, the being of God. We are parts of God. And when we feel that there is only also one big heart, one big mind that reunites everybody, everything, and in that we are one, and we are concerned with everything, because everybody is us. In some moments I can have some perception of that, some feeling of that, and in other moments I am in my small individuality or my small personality in distinction with everybody. But this teaching comes from the Christ mind, the Christ presence, and this presence is in the unity. And in that level, we are all united. We are all our spiritual part in that and in union, in this family, this unity. So when we contact the subtle parts of our consciousness, we feel more and more the oneness, the unity. But when we are more in density, it's different. So sometimes we read these kind of thing and we say it's false, it's impossible, it's not true. We cannot be God. We are a child of God. We receive God. But in other moments, we are so connected that our little self disappears, and it's the presence of God in expression, in creation, in loving in this world. So it depends of what is there in one moment and in another moment inside of us, the little self or the big self or the Christ. And it's the difference with the reality with the big R and what we call the reality in our physical world with the little r. But it's not this reality with the big R. What we call reality, it's the dream, it's our illusions, it's our world of competitions, of fear, of feeling that we will miss something. But deeply, nothing is missing when we feel the presence of God, when we feel the mother, the father, the child, when we feel that we are all that in expression. Nothing is missing. We can only live in joy and in love. But when we are in the part that is disconnected from that, we always think that we have to buy things, to protect things, to take things, to steal things. But for example, for a spiritual master who is in connection with God, was his father, her mother, his mother, or her mother, her father, and that person has access to the divine creativity, materialization is possible in every second. The mind of God can materialize. The mind of God can bring the body everywhere. I remember inside of me some parts in my past when I was in this kind of unity, when it was easy to travel all around the world, in this planet, in other planets, in the solar system, in the galaxy. Because in unity with God, the universe of space and time, it's like a tool, and you can go in depth and go out because you know that you are not outside, but you embrace all that, and you're not in a prison in that. But for that, you have to realize that you are divine, and that your divinity envelopes, embraces everything, everybody, every places, that your love has no limit. And there is different experiences from some part of the sonship, some part of this big family, some parts of God. But when you feel the very subtle energy, you have no limitation. But you cannot do bad things in that, because in this not unlimited state, you are in peace, in felicity, in grace, and in that you have no idea to begin a war, a conflict, to have a judgment. You accept, you love, you contemplate, you create what is the beauty, the holiness, the sanctity. Many times in my days, I cannot feel that. I'm like almost everybody in different other perceptions, but in other moments, especially in meditation, in contemplation, in the spiritual exercise to be the Christ, in connection with the divine, I feel a little bit more, and I understand that the body is not my identity. The body is a tool that I use actually to discover things, people, to create here in this physical dimension, but I'm really bigger than that. My consciousness is not in this body. This body is in my consciousness. The divine spirit is my reality, and I have chosen to accept this tool, this physical body, to do some things. And in that state, my body, my word, is a servant of the divine plan, the universal plan, the loving plan. And I can do nothing else. We are multidimensional, like a Russian doll. You know the little doll? A little one in another one, bigger, another one a little bit bigger, another doll a little bit bigger, another one a little bit bigger. You can see that like 7 little dolls. Your physical body, your etheric body, your astral body, your mental body, your causal body, your psychic or buddhic body, your atmic body. It's the 7 main parts of your multi-dimensional nature to express yourself in different dimensions of energy. You can express yourself in this civilization of the physical world, or in the civilization of the etheric world, or in the civilization of the astral world, or in the civilization of the mental world, or in the civilization of the causal world, or in the civilization of the psychic world with divine soul only in love, or in the civilization of atmic dimension with only divine spirit, pure spirit, in communication, in action, in creation. It's all parts of us, and we can feel what is denser or what is more subtle, and what can embraces. Our mind is more regularly in density, but it's a practice to go higher, even in your action, in your activity, in your talks, in your discussions, to feel that you are this divine spirit or divine soul, this Christ, this divine child, who uses the body to do things, to share experiences, to play with others. The reality is this level non-limited. The illusion is the perception of the war between bodies in conflicts. In every moment, if we take time, if we take a second to take a distance with what we watch, what we listen, it's like to take an airplane or to be a bird. You are here in the physical plane, but a part of you is really over all that and can see that with eyes, Christic eyes, divine eyes, loving eyes, and understand that all that is only to bring more and more love and that situation are construction of some parts of our mind who has forgot the divine, and who has attracted more human situation. Oh, it's difficult to explain. It's hard for me to express that. But ask to the source that is in you, that you are in this source. This source is you. Ask it to help you to merge with it and to feel more and more that you can embrace all the universe and say, I love you to every little part, because every little part that exists is a part of God, a part of you. Just there to discover yourself in the mirror. It's why love is so important. Okay, I stop here. The decision that closes the gap. That which closes the gap, though it may be said to you in many forms, is the decision to give up seeking and acknowledge that you have found. All teaching devices, all forms of language that I have brought forth have been by design to woo you, to seduce you, to calm you into knowing that you are good. The final gap then, indeed, the final step, is taken by me. And that final step taken by me is the final step taken by you. For that final step into the fullness of enlightenment can only be God, recognizing that only God is. And you are that one. Where else could we come to in a series of lessons entitled The Way of Knowing? It was never intended to be a set of lessons that will someday get you there, but rather the very way of knowing, to walk the journey of creation, knowing that it is God doing the walking, and to walk in the knowingness that all things that arise here are in God, and you are that one, and to finally be willing to look at a tree and know that the eye of God is seeing God, and the tree of God is being eyed by God. You are indeed that one, infinite, eternal, unbounded, so intimately linked with every one of your brothers and sisters that there is no such separation nor anything to fear. And there is yet this infinity magical process in which the mind is realized within a body-mind. That is, you can be perfectly enlightened now by simply seeing the truth that the thought you have held of yourself has never been true. It was only a temporary spell. God forgetting, God playing to be other than God. And yet, that play is the very fullness of God. For in the end, the fall from grace, the separation from union, that very thing itself cannot be outside the mind of God. All that your eyes show you is innocent and free. All that the mind can conjure as though is innocent and free. You are free to be that one who has the mind of Christ, which is God, and shows up in the transfigured body-mind. Where once there was a false sense of I, now there is only the free, unobstructed field of awareness of God, observing creation through His creation, God observing His creation through His creation, or her creation, his or her, because God is also the feminine and the masculine. Imagine then that you are indeed that one and you choose to pick up a particular body-mind that everyone thought was called Fred, or Nancy, or Harry, or what have you. You put on the body-mind for the simple enjoyment of looking out through it to observe what creation is like from that perspective. Not unlike one who would go to a costume ball, puts on a certain costume just to play at being Louis XIV, or Lady Godiva, or Mother Mary, or if you want to be a very radical, Jesus of Nazareth. You have already put on all of those costumes. You are the creator of all of those costumes. You are God. There is only God. There can only be God. And as you read the words, which produce insights and pictures that are flowing through the field of the mind, the you who is reading and the I who is speaking are all one thing, God. Fear not, beloved friends, fear not the coming and going of the life of the body-mind, for that life in itself is already perfectly unobstructed and free. It cannot hinder the truth of who you are when you choose to see from the truth of what you are. As we begin to conclude the study of the way of knowing, dare to live the impossible dream. Dare to begin to see that you are God perceiving, looking out upon God's creation. And God's creation is only God. Yes, in the end, you can even say that God has created nothing, for nothing can be outside of what God is. I have given unto you many clues throughout these lessons. I have told you that if God forgot to think about you for one moment, you would cease to be. Think about what that must mean. It must mean that you are inhering so much in God that a simple thought in the mind of God either creates you or destroys you. In the flash of an eye, you are either in existence or you are not. Yet, what could be in existence but the will of God? If you exist, you must be in the mind of God, that perfect power by which all things arise and pass away. God's creation occurs nowhere, that is, it has no location. The planet Earth, the bodies that inhabit it, the physical universe in which the planet Earth is spinning about, all of these things are not at all unlike what you experience when you close your eyes and imagine having ice cream. You create the image. You have the experience. You see yourself giving the cashier your money. You eat the ice cream. You see yourself smile. You can feel it move down into your belly. Where did all of that exist? Could anybody find it outside the power of consciousness to create? No. You are like the ice cream in the mind of God. God sees itself appearing as you, doing exactly what you are doing in each and every moment. If God, for one split second, dropped the thought of you, you would entirely disappear, and all of those beings around you, who you think are different people, would instantly have no recollection of you whatsoever. Realizing all power in heaven and earth resides within you. There can only be God. You are God's stream. You are God's creation. You are God's child, in the sense that you are God shaping herself into a temporary expression of herself. And for what purpose? To simply extend creation. You are that one. All power in heaven and earth resides within you. When you bend to pick up a glass, God is embracing God. And if God were not choosing that in that moment, you would cease to be. Even the body would vanish from view. As Yeshua ben Joseph, then, I have appeared to you to be your brother and friend, because you have believed that you needed someone to be a brother and friend who will let you know that you are safe, so that you can give yourself permission to nod your head yes and say, I can accept that now. Thank you for being here, Yeshua. Yet, in truth, you are God merely playing out that field of relationship, the quality of experience that seems to require an elder brother who has gone through quite a change and now has the voice of authority. But I have no voice unless you give it to me. And what can give such authority if not the mind of God? For it takes one to know one. You have heard me say that many, many times. I can only be the Christ mind in you that could perceive the Christ mind in Yeshua ben Joseph. And the Christ mind is the extension of God's perfect being into and as creation. When you look lovingly upon anyone, you are God. For God is but love. You have also heard me say many times, love is the essence of what you are. If God is love, and love is the essence of what you are, this can only mean that the essence of you is God, right? Right here, right now, with not one thing that must be done to earn it, to shape it, to get it. This is why no form of technique brings the Son to the Father, or bring the daughter to the Father, the daughter to the mother, the son to the mother. This is why one said in the Yeshua letters that no prayer or supplication brings the Son to the Father, but only the release of illusion. And that illusion, when you have peeled it all down in the way you have insisted on peeling it down, is to come to see that the notion you have held of yourself as having a separate existence, being a separate I, as being false. It is a smoke screen, a guise, a veil. Your perception or belief that that is what you were, as opposed to being everything else, is the illusion that must be released. Choosing to decree that only God exists. In the way of knowing, what I am offering to you as indeed your Creator and the essence of all that you are, is the opportunity to choose this context to decree that only God exists. To choose that the very body-mind and the self you once thought you were is now embodied, inhabited by the Creator itself. That when the hand moves to pick up the glass, it is no longer I, but God. It is no longer me, as a separate, struggling being, but God who moves the hand. It is God who is aging the hand, and God who is the aging of the hand. All things can only be that which I am. I am one, and singular and whole. The Creator says, "You should have no other gods before me, no other thoughts or illusions before me, not even a sense of an I going to God. Then there is only God, and reality has descended to make its home in the field of awareness where once you thought there was something else. We created the way of the heart to begin to speak in such a way to you that would not elicit fear, to which you could nod your head and say, yes, yes, that sounds true to me, I'll accept this. Then we spoke to you of the way of transformation, where you perceived yourself as one in need of transformation. Again, you nodded your heads and said, we'll accept this. Yes, I am still in need of transformation. I'll buy into this as the context in which I receive more of the truth about myself. And now, in the way of knowing, we begin to bring you full force into that which have chosen to bring yourself to stand at the doorway of the temple of heaven, to begin to open it, to let the golden light stream out. As you look into the sanctuary to see, it is yourself upon the throne. This is why I have also said that self-love, the simplicity of self-love, is that doorway that brings about the release of illusion. This does not mean that you just hang out in a state of consciousness that says, well, I'm really kind of a weak being, but I accept and love myself. That is a good beginning, but eventually you must say, I am good and I love myself. I am that one abiding as the leaf that falls from the tree. I am indeed that one that shudders against the cold of a winter storm. I am indeed that one that is the warmth of the sunlight that comes to caress the flower. I am the flower that receives the sunlight. I am this body-mind arising and passing away. I am the quality of awareness that I choose now. For there is only God, only the truth can be true, and the truth sets all things free. For if truth is given only to humankind, but not to a blade of grass, the blade of grass remains imprisoned. But the truth that sets all things free does so because all things are the truth. This is why, when you encounter anyone, it is indeed a holy encounter. Holy means wholeness. In wholeness, there is only one. I hope you are beginning to see how simple it really is. Each moment of relationship is holy. Not because the mind decides to hold the thought, well, I heard this was holy, I guess I better be a nice person. No, that is egoic thinking, and the ego is the dream of separation. Who is dreaming the dream? You are. And you are God. Each relationship or each moment is a holy encounter because there is only wholeness showing up as that one thing. Existence is not really two beings coming together and having an experience. There is only the one thing, which is the experience itself. Do you know that all along you have never forgotten me for a moment? That is, in any moment or through perception, through clear immediate perception, you have been unaware of the thought of an I having the experience. There is just the experience itself. It arises innocently. It arises uncaused. There is no judgment about it. There is just experience. Then, in the next millisecond, the next slight moment, you create the thought, oh, I am having this experience, and it's with that separate being over there. You have merely elected to use the power of God consciousness to identify that another body-mind is something separate from you. You are the creator of the game. You are the players